So you just received your first DUI, and I know what's going through your head. Number one, you're scared that you may go to jail. Number two, you don't know how much this is going to cost you. And number three, you wondering what's going to happen to your job, your reputation, and your social life. Well, guess what? I'm attorney Joe Pometto, and I'm here to give you some tips on what to expect for your first DUI. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Tips from a Lawyer. I'm your host, attorney Joe Pometto. I'm a practicing attorney in Pittsburgh, PA. I do criminal defense, personal injury, family law, and whatever it is I can do to help other people. Here on this channel, I give you not legal advice. This is not legal advice, but these are legal tips. This is legal information that you can use. If you are charged with a crime or have a legal issue, you need to talk to a local attorney. But watch this video first. It will help you lay a groundwork. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. These are free ways to support my show. The more likes and subscriptions I get, the more YouTube will know that people are watching, and they will reward me in turn. Also, every Tuesday at 8 o'clock, I go live to exchange legal information with you, 8 o'clock Eastern. You can call in or hit me up on the chat. Tune in. Okay, so you had your first DUI. Here's what to expect. Now, I work in Pennsylvania. I'm only licensed in Pennsylvania, so I can tell you what happens with a first DUI here in Pennsylvania. I can't tell you what happens in other states, but what I do know is that other states are very similar. Most states, if not all of them, have special diversionary programs for first DUI offenders. However, in order for your case to be treated as a first DUI, you almost certainly will have to have no prior criminal offenses at all. So if you have a prior misdemeanor conviction, a prior felony conviction, you may not get the treatment that I am about to run through. But I'm going to give you an expectation of what will happen. All right, so the first thing on your mind are your first couple of court dates. Well, I can tell you for a first DUI, 2 to 3 court dates total. Some states may defer, but probably not by much. 2 to 3 court dates total. And don't be terrified. They are likely going to be fairly routine. And if you hire a local attorney, okay, they're going to make it even easier for you. You'll probably go in, sign papers, have some discussions. You may see the judge for a brief few minutes, but you're not going to have a discussion or talk about a lot of things with the judge. So 2 to 3 court dates total. Most of them will be low stress. Okay, what do you have to do prior to your court dates? And there will be a final court date where you'll be entered into the diversionary program. A diversionary program is where you don't end up with a conviction on your record. In Pennsylvania, it's called ARD, Accelerated Rehabilitative Disposition. And if you're accepted into this program, you don't have those prior offenses, all right, you're going to get special treatment. And if you complete the process, as I'm about to tell you, it will be expunged from your record. That's why I tell you, don't be too scared. You have to take a first DUI very seriously, okay? But it's not the end of your life, and you almost certainly are not going to go to jail. So you have those 2 to 3 court dates, and there's a final court date. Prior to that final court date, a couple of things are almost certainly going to happen. You are going to have to get some sort of drug and alcohol evaluation. In Pennsylvania, it's actually a 2-step process. There's like a lighter eval that is sometimes done on the phone with a drug and alcohol counselor. But if they think you have a real drug and alcohol problem, you may have to go and see a level up professional who will then make a diagnosis and perhaps make treatment recommendations. If there are treatment recommendations as a part of this evaluation, it becomes part of the terms and conditions of your probation. And for most first-time offenders, that's what you're looking at, a period of probation, not jail, probably not house arrest, lightly supervised probation, anywhere from 6 to 12 months. So if the judge or your attorney tells you to get that evaluation, get it done. You want things to go smoothly for this process. Get it done as soon as possible, as soon as you can. Another thing that will happen prior to your final court date, you may have to pay some court costs. Here in Pennsylvania, you have to pay $250 prior to your your final court date. It's kind of like a down payment on court costs. It's a little silly if you ask me, but I don't make the rules. I just tell people how to follow them. So prior to your final court date, if you get an attorney, it'll make the process easier, okay? You may have to get a drug and alcohol evaluation and pay some court costs. Otherwise, that's about it. At your final court date, you will see a judge. This will be the day where you're entered into that diversionary program. Again, in Pennsylvania, it's called ARD. When the judge enters you into the program on that day, your period of time for probation will begin. This hearing is sometimes done in a big courtroom with a whole lot of other people who are in the same situation as you. It's sort of like a cattle call because they have to go through, there's so many of these every month, okay? So again, don't be terrified. The judge isn't going to be coming after you. They are going to read to you what happened, what kind of DUI that you got, okay? And they're going to tell you, you may have to plead guilty. You may have to say that you accept responsibility, and they're going to officially enter you into the program on the court record. Boom. That day, your probation will begin. The next thing that you will do after that court hearing, and your attorney should be there to help guide you through this, is you're going to go to the probation office. Now, in the age of COVID, these meetings have been done via telephone or even video conference. Right now, they're getting back to in-person. Usually, the probation office is in the same courthouse where you have this final hearing. So you'll go to probation, you meet with your probation officer, they'll outline for you the terms and conditions of your probation. Like I said, if as a result of that evaluation, they recommend treatment, you will have to complete that. It'll be part of the terms and conditions of the probation. It could be inpatient treatment if you have a serious problem or you are on drugs. It could be outpatient treatment, okay, if you have a moderate problem, or it could just be a recommendation for some type of course or classes. These classes could include AA meetings or NA meetings if your problem was drugs. So keep that in mind. That's going to be a term and condition of your probation. You're going to have to do that. Otherwise, you violate your probation, and your probation officer at this meeting on the final court date will likely talk to you about this, all right? But this is sometimes very easy. Something that everyone is going to have to do is an alcohol highway safety course. Here in Pennsylvania, it's a 2-day course. It can be done on Saturdays, okay, but it is about 5 hours. You're going to watch videos, hear speakers, alcohol highway safety course. Always a term and condition of probation for a first-time DUI offender. Next, you're going to have to pay fines. These can range from anywhere from $500 to $1,500, depending on what type of DUI you got. And so this can depend on what your BAC is, your blood alcohol content. Were you a low level, a middle level, or a high level? That can determine what your fine is, okay? Now, perhaps the worst part, the part that everybody's really, really nervous about, is the license suspension. Here in Pennsylvania, first-time DUI offenders who are accepted into the diversionary program will get either a 0-day license suspension, a 30-day license suspension, or a 60-day license suspension. Could be worse. If you don't get into the diversionary program, you're looking at 1 year. Now, Ignition Interlock is available in Pennsylvania for all of these types of license suspensions. However, it can take months to get that put on, or at least a month or up to 20 days. So sometimes it's just easier to serve the 30 or 60-day suspension than it is to go through the process of putting the ignition interlock on your vehicle. So something to keep in mind. Other states, the scheme may be a little bit different. Now, how is this going to damage your reputation? Well, with your friends, you know what I tell people? there's been judges who've had DUIs. There's been police officers who get DUIs. They go through the process. Normally, they're able to keep their jobs and continue on with their career. Now, if you get a second DUI, it may be different. Third DUI, very different. Way I tell people here in Pennsylvania, first DUI, you're going to do this probationary term. If you complete all these terms and conditions, expunge from your record. Second DUI, you're usually going to see house arrest. Third DUI, you may see jail or a very long period of house arrest or some very intensive supervision when it comes to probation. Fourth, fifth DUI, jail almost always. But even a third DUI, you can go to jail. Shoot, it can even happen on seconds depending what your criminal history is. But for a first DUI, you're probably not going to go to jail. Just to sum up what's going to happen to you, okay? You're going to go to a couple of court dates. You're going to get a drug and alcohol eval. After the final court date, you'll get put on a period of lightly supervised probation, 6 to 12 months. Do your alcohol highway safety course. Pay your fines. There's also court costs. I forgot to mention this. Tack on an extra $500 to $1,000. Okay, pay your fines, pay your court costs, do your license suspension. And at the end of the period of probation, this can get expunged from your record. These diversionary programs are not convictions, so that can help when you go to fill out employment applications. They're not going to show up as felonies, which will really ruin you for job applications in the future. Most people can get through a first DUI, learn a lesson. You're going to spend a lot of money. It's going to be a huge hassle, but it's not going to completely disrupt your life. Don't get a second one. Don't get a third one. Those ones will put a major hamper on your life, on your career, on your job. The first one, most people go through it and they never end up with a second one again or a third one. But those are the ones that you really, truly have to worry about. So drug and alcohol treatment recommendations, a period of probation, a license suspension, fines and costs, alcohol highway safety course. You're going to have to pay for all this stuff. There's fees associated with the license suspension. There's fees associated with the alcohol highway safety course. That's why you see those billboards that say, you can't afford a DUI. It's true, but they will work with you on payments for these fines and costs. I understand it's expensive. Not everybody has that money. You can and will survive a first DUI, but contact a local attorney. If you're in the Pittsburgh or Western Pennsylvania area, you can contact me. Okay, don't get too scared. You can get through this and you can learn from it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Tips from a Lawyer. Remember, this is not legal advice. You must contact a local attorney to get the scoop. Every situation is different, but these are legal tips. This is publicly available information that I am sharing with you. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Also, Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. Tuesdays at 8 o'clock, I go live. You can call in. We'll exchange legal information. We can talk about your case. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Joe Pometto, Joe the Lawyer. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. All right, everybody, have a fantastic day.